World Media Group podcast. My name is Belinda Barker and I'm the Chief Executive. We have a slightly different podcast from normal because I'm really excited to be joined by Navin Rammohan. So Navin is the Vice President of Infosys, but he also recently was awarded the World Media Group Award for Content, Leadership and Innovation. So congratulations and welcome, Navin.
Thank you, Belinda. It's a pleasure to be here.
Specifically, the work that the judges looked at, one of the comments I picked up on was it was very impressive how you were able to bring a campaign in what is essentially quite a tricky category in a very rich way. Now, you live and breathe Infosys, and I know what an incredibly enormous organization it is, but quite a lot of our audience may well be at the beginning ends of their careers, and they may not be as familiar at all with the Infosys brand. So I hope you don't mind just starting off explaining a little bit about who and what Infosys is.
Sure. Let me start from the very beginning then, Belinda. So Infosys is a large global IT services and consulting organization. We started off around 42 years back with a seed capital of around $250 with 7 founders. And today we are about $18 billion in revenue. We have 330,000 employees globally, and we are in 56 countries managing our clients' businesses, which is really around digital transformation. So in essence, we really look after the entire technology spectrum of large enterprises who are our clients. And these are enterprises which are the Global 2000, the Fortune 500s of the world. So really managing different kinds of work related to their technology transformation. That's what we really do. Just to give you an example, imagine an iconic automaker which is really looking at their cloud transformation to really look at how cloud can impact their connected cars business. Similarly, a government organization which is looking at implementing a lot of strategies for the SME businesses that they want to do using blockchain as a thing. So we help them implement a blockchain strategy to for their small and medium-sized industries within their constituents. We look at AI to really help tennis players improve and manage their games, and that's one of the works that we do with sports organizations. So, in a sense, we manage the entire technology spectrum of medium to large enterprises around any kind of challenges that they face, which technology can really solve. But I would like to define Infosys more in a different way, and I think our purpose statement really helps us define us much better than data points. We really define ourselves as an organization which is there to help amplify human potential to navigate the next in terms of for people, businesses, and communities. And that's what we really do. And I think 42 years back, the value systems that the founders had put behind the organization still rests in terms of how we go about doing our business. And one of the things that we are really proud of is really we are considered very, very advanced in terms of our ESG strategies. We became carbon neutral in 2019, 2020, 30 years ahead of the Paris Agreement. We've been carbon neutral for the last 4 years. The other thing that we do in the social sustainability space is that we are now implementing a strategy of really reskilling about 10 million people with digital skills. We are already halfway of the mark. 5 million people are already on a platform that is provided free to enable people to learn digital skills. So we are very proud of doing things which are beyond business. I don't think we can call this beyond business because now ESG is a core part of every organization's strategy. And from a people perspective, I think learnability is one of the core strategies of Infosys. We have probably the world's largest corporate university in Mysore, where we train close to about 15,000 people simultaneously. So learning and constantly evolving ourselves to learn new technologies and bring that to our clients' business is core to us. So that's what we do. It's really about amplifying human potential, really for people, businesses, and communities. And that actually defines Infosys a lot more than the technology definition of that we are an IT services company. I think we are a people company that uses technology to really help our clients better.
Fascinating. And I wish we've got time to talk, because I'd love to know more about how you achieved being carbon neutral, and also the 15,000 universities. I mean, both of those feel like they're a podcast in their own right. But let's stick to what you specifically were winning awards on for now. And actually, before we get to that work, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. So you've been with Infosys for 19 years, which in itself is extremely, it's really unusual. People rarely spend that long in their career in one company. So I'd like to know, one, you started off as a chemical engineer, and then you made a massive leap into marketing, which it shows that you're very independent and creative and willing to take chances. And then you've stayed in a single company for almost 20 years. So what drives you, and what made you make those changes or not make changes?
That's an interesting question, Belinda. So I think when you start off, I think you don't look at, okay, where you're, what kind of career that you're looking at. I went more by my interests when I decided to join chemical engineering. I think I was interested in maths, I was interested in chemistry. I got some good marks in these two subjects, and that was a natural tendency to, hey, let's look at chemical engineering, because I seem to have an aptitude for chemistry and maths, and that was probably a decision which was made more on looking at, okay, what am I good at in terms of subjects, and not really what am I passionate about, or what do I really like to do in my future. But no complaints. I had a great time in doing my engineering. I got a great job after that. Worked in a shift production as a shift production officer in a chemical firm. But I soon realized, I think, that people management skills were really, really important in any organization that you work. I think more and more than the engineering knowledge that I was trying to bring to the work, the people management skills were really more important in order to really gain confidence of the people who were there in the factory. And that led me to a direction saying that this is a skill. I seem to like it. I enjoy doing something like this. And it seems to be important in any business context, in any kind of organization setup. People management skills come very, very handy. And that led me into the direction of doing a management degree. And post my management degree, I did it in marketing communications. In India, and then I joined an advertising firm. Again, that was very led with a passion towards communication. I enjoyed looking at advertising. I enjoyed marketing as a stream. So it led me to join an advertising firm, which was a WPP group, J. Walter Thompson at that point in time. And I had a fascinating 4.5, 5 years with J. Walter Thompson, really learning the roots of communication. How do you really look at managing media? What works with the audience? How do you look at segmenting your audience? How do you understand categories? And I think the foundational knowledge that you get from an agency is something very difficult to get if you're on the other side. If you're directly joining a corporate organization and managing marketing, I think the foundational knowledge that you get from agency is very, very important. At least that's what I tend to now. When I look back, I thought that really gave me a sound grounding in terms of understanding communications and media and different channels very well. And then from there, it was a natural progression towards moving to the client side of the business. I used to manage a lot of technology brands. Again, because of my background in engineering, naturally they gave me a lot of clients which were on the technology side of things, and that's how I moved to Infosys. Infosys at that point in time was looking for somebody to manage the branding activities of the banking products division of Infosys. It's called Finacle. It's one of the shining products and brands coming out of India. It's a product brand, which is a banking products division. We manage core banking applications of large banks globally. In fact, there is a stat that 15% of the population, global population, is banked by Finacle in some sense. So that's the kind of application that Infosys has been building for a long time now. A majority of the banks globally run on Finacle. So it was a fascinating journey to kickstart for one, rebranding that whole product, working on product marketing, understanding the product very well, understanding again the audience. It gave me a chance to really understand different markets, because we were trying to expand the product from India and taking it globally, looking at different banks across different markets. And that gave me a lot of exposure in terms of understanding markets and what works in different markets. So I worked in the Finacle business, eventually heading the overall marketing for Finacle for almost about 9 years. And then from there, I got an opportunity to move to the services side of Infosys business, which is the largest component of Infosys business that happens. And for the past 11 years, I've been working on the services side. Now I head marketing for all the business verticals of Infosys, which is so we have a large financial services business, we have a manufacturing business, telecom business. So there are marketing that we require. We call it field marketing or industry marketing. So I lead overall industry marketing for Infosys. But I also manage a lot of corporate functions for Infosys. Like I manage the overall global partnership, tennis partnership, which is a brand partnership. That's something that I manage. I manage large events, customer events for Infosys. We have one called Confluence, which we run across all the different geos that we have. I also manage Europe as a region. That's a new portfolio that I've been handling for the last 4.5 years now. So I think it's been a fascinating journey of taking on new challenges, new opportunities within the organization. I've never felt that I'm getting bored in one job, because every second year I've been given something new to manage and look at, and that gave me a different kind of an exposure. So it's been a journey of new learnings, and the people have been fantastic to work with. The team has been great in terms of learning from each other. So I've never felt the need to really go out, because I was getting all the exposure within the same organization, and they were giving me new challenges. Now I also head Infosys UK operations and this thing. So it's a very different kind of challenge. It's not a marketing challenge. It's a very business kind of a challenge, where you have to look at the people in this organization. How do you put on processes for this organization? I handle CSR for Infosys in Europe, which is a very different way of looking at the business. How do you look at technology for good and do something for the community in this region? So I think the exposure has been varied, and it has given me a chance to really skill myself in different ways, and I've gained learned from each of these opportunities that was thrown at me. So never got bored, and that's been 19 years now. So enjoying every moment of it, and looking forward to the next challenge actually.
You referred well, you talked earlier about your primary target audience being mid to large size businesses. Yeah. And you also talked a little bit, or you just then, about the tennis, which was one of the campaigns specifically that you got the award for. I'd be fascinated to know what made, at a fundamental level, what made you think that content was the right approach, and then how you got into the tennis partnership, because it's interesting because you've done it in a very different way than most big corporations do it.
I think it's a very interesting question, Belinda. At Infosys, we follow our content marketing approach with a theme called unmarketing. We call it unmarketing. It's a very value-driven kind of an approach where we are not really marketing the technology, but we are creating marketing with the help of technology. So that really is the approach that we have put down in this unmarketing. So it's not marketing the technology, but it's to create marketing using technology itself. So I'll try and explain it in a way that we rather than creating TV commercials and all kinds of campaign, we want to create products and services and platforms using our technology, and that becomes our marketing itself. And tennis is a great example of what we are doing in the content marketing approach, where we are actually building a digital platform for ATP, which helps players and coaches to understand statistics much better. It helps fans to really engage with the game in a much more immersive way, which they wouldn't have done if they had just watched the game on TV. If you go to our platforms that we have created on the website, they understand the game in a much more granular way, and that improves the fan engagement level within the website. And so the backbone of all of these kind of immersive experiences that we are creating is done using Infosys technology, and that becomes a marketable technology for us to showcase it to our other clients. So we go beyond the core audience of just the tennis audience, tennis stakeholders, to our other business audience, to show them what we can do with data that we are getting from, say, tennis data that we are getting from all the matches. It can easily be done with the retail data. It can easily be done with manufacturing data. So the similar principles of what we have been able to create using technology for tennis can actually also be created for other businesses. So that has been our philosophy in terms of an approach of marketing where the technology that is used for creating products and services and platforms and digital experiences that we create for any kind of business, we use that itself to market ourselves. And that has been the differentiating factor, because it brings in authenticity, it brings in value in terms of what we are doing. We are talking from a place of complete knowledge, and the clients appreciate that. Clients appreciate that you actually know what you're really talking about, and it leads to meaningful engagement and conversations with them. And that has been the most successful thing for us over the last 8 years that we've been associated with tennis. And now we've taken this model even to our other partnerships. Like we have a partnership with the Economist Group, where we have built their entire sustainability platform. It's called the Sustainability Project. And one of the problem statements that they had come to us with was that their sustainability content in the Economist website is spread across the whole website. They don't know where, who's reading what kind of content, and they wanted to bring all of this together, but in a way that it is personalized, in a way that it becomes they know a lot about their audience and what they're consuming, and how can we then target them much better. So we created a platform for them. It's live on the Economist Impact website. It's called the Sustainability Project. So every content related to sustainability is now in a single place, and the Economist team is now able to target their audience of sustainability in a much more sharper way. They know, they completely understand what their audience is reading, how much are they liking it, how much time are they spending on the content. And so it gives them new insights in terms of what are the new things that they need to do in this space, what kind of content is being liked. So it's almost like a Netflix kind of an experience that you're bringing to a sustainability content that is there. Similarly, we are creating something called as a value chain navigator with them, which is a digital tool to look at how organizations around the world are looking at their scope 3 emissions. Now, while these are projects which are delivering business value to the economist, it is actually helping us from our thought leadership perspective in the sustainability space. So tomorrow, if I go to a manufacturing organization, I can actually show them the work that I'm doing for the Economist Group around sustainability and what we have created. So it helps us build our credibility in the sustainability space. And at the same time, we are building new technology solutions, which is solving a real world problem for our clients. So I think leading with content like this helps us to create a very, very differentiated kind of proposition, which is helping us in the market, both from a brand perspective as well as from a business impact perspective.
I'm going to admit to being slightly thick, because we've had this conversation before, and I've read your case study. And by the way, anyone listening to this, you can go onto the World Media Group website and you can read the whole Infosys case study for yourself. And I would really recommend that you do that. But your unmarketing and how you explained that and how they interact, I feel like the penny has finally dropped, and I really can't get what it is that you're trying to achieve. Not trying to achieve, that you are achieving. So perhaps before we finish this, you are a specialist, but I'd like to kind of pick your brains a little bit about how you feel content marketing, not just necessarily for you at Infosys, but more broadly. It's been a big trend over the years. Is that likely to continue? And is it going to, how is it going to morph? It will always morph, but what are your predictions for the next year or two?
Yeah, I think for starters, I think the definition of content has really changed.
Yes,
it's no longer about text. It's no longer about audio. It's no longer about video. I don't think it's anything about information also. I think at least what we are seeing in the market, it's a lot about content being experiential and content being immersive. That's what we are seeing. And how do you really so if you look at it, every year the number of digital channels and mediums are increasing, whether it is Web3, whether it is Gen AI now, whether it was metaverse. Like, I think each of these trends have probably a hype cycle. And I'm not saying that as marketeers, we should not ride some of these hype cycles. I think we should. But I think we should ride it in a way that it is furthering the brand's narrative. I think that is the most important thing. How is it really adding to your brand story? How is it making it relevant to the audience that you're really trying to target? How is it relevant for the business that you are in? I think just creating content for the sake of creating content is not really helping. How are you really writing some of these things in a way that it is solving a specific business problem, and it is contextual to the business that you're in, and it is furthering your brand's narrative? So I'll give you an example on this. Again, one of the other media publications that we work with is Financial Times. And Financial Times, about 2 years back, they came to us with a business problem. And their problem was this. They said that we feel that the world of journalism is going to be very, very different in the next few years. We feel that a lot of people would want to contribute to the content and not just be passive listeners or the audience of that content. They would want to contribute to that content in some way. They called this as participative content. They called this whole phenomena as participative content, and they wanted to understand what can we do in a way that we involve and engage our audience in participating with our content. I may not like the conclusion that a particular journalist who's written a story to be, but I want a slightly different kind of a conclusion to this thing. So how do I participate in a content like this? And we brainstormed with the visual journalism team of Financial Times, and we came up with a gamification of the entire content. We created something called the FT Climate Game, because at that point in time, it was, I think COP27 was about to come, and we were really looking at how can we bring in a content which is relevant at that point in time, but not create an article or not create another paper around that thing, but how do we really engage the audience which is interested in a topic like this? So we worked with them and created a game. It's called the FT Climate Game. You can just type, Google it, and type on Financial Times climate change game. And it's a very, very immersive and scientifically based game that has been created. So one, you understand everything about the kind of decisions that you're taking. How will it really impact the environment? If you make a certain kind of a change, so you have X amount of money, you have 4 personas that you can become. And with each persona, you can actually decide how you want to really take decisions, which will end up really having a certain kind of an impact on the climate. So the whole goal was to ensure that the temperature doesn't rise above 1.5 degrees. And how do you ensure that you do that over a period of this game? It was a fascinating way to look at reimagine content completely and understanding of the subject itself. So the point that I'm trying to make is content itself is going to be very, very different. Some would be gamified content, some would be metaverse. So another example that I can take from the tennis world is something that we created for the International Tennis Hall of Fame. They are based in Newport in Rhode Island, and it is where tennis started in the US. It's the only grass court tournament that happens there, and they have something called as the Tennis Hall of Fame, which is where the legends of the game and every old artifacts related to tennis is displayed and consumed. But unless you go to Newport and unless you visit this place, you can't see this fabulous museum that is there in the Tennis Hall of Fame. So they came to us that how can we take this global? We want every tennis fan globally to be able to experience the Hall of Fame in a way that is immersive, in a way that is very, very experiential in some sense. So we built a metaverse for them, which is you can actually go into this metaverse. You can take your own avatar, and then you can move around this entire space in a way that you're actually there in some sense. So it's just been launched about in July, and we're seeing tremendous results out of that whole thing. So it was a specific business problem, and the content there is really this metaverse where people are really exploring this entire space and understanding about the Hall of Fame and every artifact that is there in a much more immersive manner. So I think my whole thing is the content strategy is really evolving around marketing strategy, around creating content that is one, it's genuine. I think one which builds in some kind of authenticity into every interaction that you do, which creates some kind of a meaningful engagement with your target audience. So as long as we are able to add value through content, as long as we are able to add authenticity with the content and a meaningful engagement with the content, I think that's the direction where content is headed. And we are looking at any form of content. If it can answer these 3 questions and you're able to create a content which is immersive, which is experiential to some extent, I think it'll be a winner.
You've answered my next question already, which was going to be about what, if anything, you've been doing on the metaverse. So you've already answered that. I'm going to ask one final question, just on if there is one challenge or one trend that you're going to be watching out for over the next 12 months what would it be?
I think we'll continue to watch on how technology is evolving. I think there is, with Gen AI now, I think there is a huge amount of opportunity in terms of how you create content, how you consume content, and what are the different directions that it can really take. Not just from exposure of content, but also in terms of optimization of a lot of things that we are doing in terms of how you build that content itself.
But do you see that as an opportunity or a threat?
I think there is a lot of opportunity. I don't see it as a threat at all. In fact, we are experimenting with AI models to not just solve clients' business problem, but also in marketing. We are really trying to see how can we push the narrative in a way that clients understand it in a much more immersive way. So I think the Gen AI space is going to be very, very exciting in the next 12 to 24 months. And we are really keen to explore and try and create. But I think the principles for us will not change. We want to look at any of these new technologies with the same principles of making sure that it furthers the brand's narrative, it adds value, it really engages in a way that it is meaningful. And I think the storytelling aspect of content is going to become much more important, because it's going to lead to a human-centric kind of content building that's going to happen right now. And we're seeing that has a much better resonance from our clients when we connect with them at a human level with our content.
That's fascinating. Thank you so much, Navin. I'm really looking forward to meeting you properly on September the 7th, when you will officially be given your World Media Award. But thank you for taking the time today to chat. For anyone who's listening, our next podcast is going to be with our Rising Star Award winner. We don't yet know who that is. That will not be announced until September the 7th, so I look forward to finding out. And with that, I'd just like to thank you so much, Navin, for sharing your time with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Belinda. It was a pleasure, and looking forward to September the 7th.
Brilliant. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.